Welcome to Bridgeside Network. I'm Mr. Bridgeside Paul Liatsis, and this is my Monday stream helping you with tech and creative advice. And I'm joined today by pro audio engineer, pro fantastic, amazing musician, one of the best guitar players I know, and pro family member. He's my cousin, and his name is Ryan Liatsis.
That's right.
You like
Professional
that?
cousin.
How's that intro, cuz?
That was great. That was one of the best intros I've heard of
And if you guys
myself
don't
yet.
know Ryan Liatsis, aka Schwiz, his band and just his original music is phenomenal. And we play out here in the Northeast. Ryan, you're a little upstate. I'm in Brooklyn. You're upstate New York.
Yep. Rockland County.
So Ryan, you and me, like many engineers and production people, get asked a lot of questions
Oh, yes.
about tech, about live streaming during the pandemic, about everything you could think of. And on this stream specifically, and on this channel, we're all about helping you guys start rolling. That's part of our mantra. So we want to welcome everybody on the stream right now. Send us your questions. We'll get to them. We have a few things we want to go through based around common issues when live streaming music, right? There's a lot of things that can go wrong, a lot of things that will go wrong, whether you can do anything about it or not, right, Ryan?
Oh, yes.
Ryan, before we get completely started, what would you say is the most commonly asked question?
Oh, how'd you do that? You know, that's I think that probably just mostly sound related. Like, how did you get your mic into your phone? How did you get the mic audio to come up on you know what I mean? Not just
Yeah.
pulling up your phone, pressing live, and using whatever the phone gives you, you know?
Yeah.
That's probably the most commonly asked thing.
So we're going to start at the beginning right now, and we're going to get to that. And we're going to start at the beginning with streaming bandwidth. Bum, ba-da-dum, bum. This is how you start your stream. You need bandwidth to start a stream. Sounds basic, sounds simple, but people aren't sure whether a lot of their reasons are affected because of the internet. And a lot of times it is the internet, but it's not always the culprit. I will say that to have the best outcome for your stream, you need a hardline Ethernet connection. If you don't know what an Ethernet cable is, it looks like a phone cable, an old school phone cable, if you remember what those look like, but it's a little thicker, Cat 5, Cat 6. You need that plugged into your router. That's the best way you can guarantee good quality, because Wi-Fi is intermittent, right?
Yes,
so
no Wi-Fi.
You have, Ryan, your Wi-Fi is all different around your studio, right? In different spots.
So, well, I am, the studio is about 50 feet from the house, and it's all one network, actually, so it's not two separate networks. And the studio has an extender out here, which is, it gets good signal out here in the studio. And but, you know, I recently, since we started doing all this, I had it just Wi-Fi hooked up, you know, and now I'm strictly, Wi-Fi is always off on the computer, and it's just hardwired right into the router, and it's phenomenal. It's way better. Haven't had any issues since then, knock on wood.
Yeah, well,
So
and this is something you don't say during a live shoot, is that we've had no issues. You don't jinx yourself. You don't knock on wood.
Yeah,
away.
Of course. Right?
The moment we're completely set up for a show, when we have bands here and have our whole production crew, and we're like, I had a schedule, don't jinx it. Like, something's going to go wrong.
Yeah,
but
right.
that just shows you that anything could happen no matter how expensive your gear is. Like, I work in broadcast environments. Ryan, you work at Brooklyn Bowl, one of the best live venues here in New York City.
Oh, yeah.
Anything can happen. It doesn't matter if you have an iPhone connector, you know, a cheap thing or an expensive thing. So just keep that in mind. But you want to put yourself in the best scenario to succeed. That's what it's all about. That's what being live is all about. Guys, the comments are coming in. Thank you. I'm going to try to get to them. And yeah, just give me one moment. Welcome, Jean-Louis. Welcome, Christian. Okay, stream bandwidth. Ethernet. This is a quick topic. You need Ethernet connection for best results. You need the best upload speed and download speed. If you see all these ads for Verizon and Spectrum or whatever your local providers are, upload speed, upload speed, meaning what you're sending to the internet is upload, and what you're taking down, like watching a video, that's download.
Mm-hmm.
So keeping it basic for people that don't know, upload is what you're sending, download is what you're receiving. So you want good upload speed to be able to stream a bunch of different stuff. I have multiple windows and a lot of video stuff going on. I have really good upload speed. It's necessary. What's up, Dylan? Welcome to the stream. Oh, we're frozen. Oh, Joe K. Okay. We don't want to hear that. All right. That's it. You need Ethernet. That's the topic.
Yes.
It's not a crazy topic. You need
Hardwire.
Ethernet and good upload speed. At least I would say if you can get 50 to upload speed nowadays, which is pretty common, I think that's where you want to go. You can go up all the way to a gigabyte, which I have. Go Giants, Christian. Very relevant to the stream. All right. We're going to get right into the next topic, guys. Stream compression. Ryan.
Yes.
Bump, bump, ba bum. All right. Ryan, you know more about this or you know about this specifically. What's your issues with this? A lot of musicians are having this issue on Facebook, right?
Yes. Facebook, another place that I've encountered it is on Zoom. And you can kind of hear it. You kind of hear that like warbly, phasery, weird sound going on sometimes, especially if you're a musician and you're strumming a guitar on Zoom or something or whatever. And it's because Facebook and Zoom and streaming services or providers like that, they assume that most people are not using it for music, which is correct in their assumption. And there's a lot of noise canceling that's going on, so that whatever you're talking into, wherever the source of your talking, so most people are just talking into their iPhone or their device directly into their device's microphone. So there's a lot of this noise canceling stuff to get other noises out of the background and stuff like that, which inherently doesn't help when you have a guitar in your lap and your vocal up here, and they're coming from two different areas. And we did some testing with this, me and my roommate, and we noticed that the farther away you are from the mic, it was almost to the point of you couldn't even, it was just canceling out all that noise. And then the closer you got, you started to hear it. And there was a little mid-gray area where you would hear that warbly flangeriness. So these...
Yeah, how would you describe that again?
Yeah, it was... I mean, I guess that's what you would call it. I'm not sure of the exact... terminology of what the sound is, but you've heard it. It sounds like an old MP3 that you got off Napster or something that was downloaded illegally or something. It's just like a really poor quality audio sound.
Yeah, and like dipping in, and this is I'm gonna pull this to actually Zoom, guys. Right, everyone's going to Zoom or trying to use Zoom. It has its own compression issues, but it's less about compression than more than control. Zoom tries to control and mix itself if you don't set up the proper settings.
Exactly.
And I think if you've been using Zoom and you've looked into this, you know that you have to go into your advanced settings and click. And this is desktop. You have to go into your desktop web browser settings to allow original audio or allow original sound. Right? Is it sound or audio? Allow original sound/audio. To give the option so that when you set up your preferences, you can let people use their original sound, because Zoom likes to, mix it itself. If someone's getting really loud, it will bring it down to like a volume that it thinks you want to hear. And it's trying to cancel out background noise too. So you have to go into your advanced settings and allow original audio and tell the people in the Zoom with you to choose original audio, and also disable the features where in your preferences where Zoom has control of your audio mix. You don't want Zoom to have any control. You want it to just be the original.
Yes,
Very
absolutely.
Good. So Melissa Marie, this is going back to bandwidth. She said she hardwired, as ugly as it looks in her room, she hardwired 100-foot cable in her room. I will say this, 100-foot cable will work in most scenarios, but the longer you get with their cables, the more chance for dropouts. So ideally, you want it to be as close to the router as possible, and understanding that you'll need to get the Ethernet to your computer. Hopefully it's close. All right. You got a lot of comments about your mustache. Does your mustache affect your sound?
Some say it does. I mean, there's no way to know at this point.
So Ryan, you're a musician. This is talk about music generally. Is there an inspiration behind your mustache before we get back into the topic at hand?
Oh, not in particular. I think it's just a lot of the musicians I admired when I was younger all had mustaches, so I figured when I got older I would have a mustache, and here I am.
Guys, thank you for all the comments. If we can keep it to the technical end of things and less comical end of things, I don't have a moderator on the stream today, so it's hard to follow all these hilarious comments. But thank you. Okay, stream. So, do you have your solution, Ryan?
Solution for for the compression issue. So the at least in what I've experienced so far, the only solution seems to be using a streaming software such as OBS, Wirecast, etc. And those softwares give you an upgraded audio signal that's being sent to places like Facebook and Zoom and all that. So again, you'd have to get an app like OBS, which is free, and there's some tutorials and stuff on YouTube about how to use it and what exactly it is. But it's OBS is Open Broadcaster Studio, I think it stands for, and it's essentially just
software.
It's essentially just a broadcasting software. So you have your video, and you're gonna, as Paul mentioned before, you're gonna be taking it from your camera or your phone or wherever, and you're going to be sending it to Facebook through this software, and the software gives you this upgraded video speed and this upgraded audio speed that gets you the clarity and the higher quality sound and all that.
So the question is, guys, are you just trying to have fun? And this is, I get a lot of questions all the time. How much will this cost to get a setup? How much to do this? Or what do I need? And I'm going to put this in, preface this with every video I do, is you need to decide what's your goal. First, decide what your goal is. Then you can make the next decisions of what to get. Is your goal to just put yourself out there, to try it out, to get your music out there, to get your art out there, your podcast? If it's just a testing period, then spend money accordingly. Your test budget, you know, like if you want to spend $200 to just see if you're any good at it, or you want to just start to feel it out and see if it's something you enjoy, start small and then grow. We're in the more professional end because this is our lives. This is our profession. So we go for the crazy stuff, but we're here to help people just starting and people trying to figure it out, or anybody who wants to be helped. But the idea is decide what your budget is, decide how much you're willing to put into your endeavor. We're talking now using OBS, Ryan, is more about giving you more control. So if you just want to get, someone brought up an iRig, can you use Logic through an iRig? Nelly Liano, it's hard to read. Nelly Lano asked, can you use Logic through an iRig? So the question is, how much control do you want? Do you just want to get it out there and just cross your fingers, or do you want to be able to mix the levels? Are you going to get intricate with it? Ryan, like, what can you say to that?
So there are ways, which I've seen, people can actually take a Pro Tools session or a Logic session, come out of their computer with a USB cable into an iRig or into an interface into an iRig or whatever. That way seemed a little difficult to me because there's some other third-party softwares that you have to download in order to make Logic be able to talk to the iRig, essentially. So the easiest way that I've found is to, if you have something like an old little analog mixer or something that, let's say, you just plug your 3 or 4 microphones into, and then you come out of that piece of gear into your iRig, it's a lot easier than dealing with the software aspect of getting Pro Tools to come out of your computer to go out into the iRig, into another device, So I'm always like, try to keep it as straightforward as possible, eliminate as many possible steps. Here's where the sound comes from. Here's where it needs to go. Let's do it in the least amount of processes needed.
Yeah, because once something goes wrong, you have to start at step one.
Yeah, exactly.
And eliminate the issues by process of elimination.
Yep.
Now, I'm going to say something as someone who I mix and match a lot of gear, right? For live streaming, you want to keep it as simple as possible, right?
Sure, yeah.
So now, in the wake of the pandemic, I have all this hardware gear. You see this hardware switcher? It's one of my most expensive pieces of gear. Hardly been using it because now because now I'm by myself. I don't have a crew to help me use all the tools I have. So I'm strictly like using Wirecast and getting everything into one thing.
Yeah.
So especially if you're streaming by yourself from home, try to keep it simple. And you'll have more success. We got a couple more questions here. How do you
Sure.
make a Sony A6000 camera the webcam of a Mac? I never. Well, I'm going to answer this. You might have an answer, Ryan. I would never want to make a camera a webcam of another device.
Oh.
I know you're doing that right now. I think, Ryan, right?
I'm using my phone as my webcam.
But you're getting your phone into your computer, right?
Yes, that's correct.
See, for me, that adds a variable that's maybe not worth it, but it's working well. So who am I to say? But that kind of goes against the philosophy of what we just said. As little.
That's
things
true,
moving.
but as you got to experiment, and when you find what works for your setup, then you should keep rolling with it. So, and this is all. This isn't just I plugged it in and it worked. This is from experimenting and testing and going through different apps and different setups. So this took a while to I don't just want everyone to think that it just presto, I just made it work.
Yeah.
So there is that element of you got to test.
So now, can you use that program that you're using with like a DSLR?
Which program?
You're using your phone to go to your computer.
Yes.
Can you put
correct.
a DSLR? Dan is asking on Facebook. How do you make a Sony A6000 camera? The webcam of my Mac.
So that I would assume that we're going to hardwire it, unless the phone. Unless the camera, has Wi-Fi capabilities, but in that case of that camera, I believe the Wi-Fi capabilities are just to share photos back and forth and all that.
Yeah. I would say this, Dan, that the best way to do it is get a video capture card. That's the best way to do it. You can get a little Blackmagic Ultra Studio recorder, a Blackmagic mini recorder. They're like $120. It's more expensive than like an audio capture card, a cheap one. But you can use it for a lot of things, and it works well. I would say that. We have a question from Kay Parnell Sanders. Kay, thank you for the stream. Has anyone else had problems with the orientation of video switching back and forth the last 3 weeks on Facebook Live?
Oh, wow.
I'm assuming, is that on your phone? Is that your question? Like, are you using your phone to shoot? I think to answer that question, we would need to know what you're using. Ryan, have you experienced anything with phone or anything like that?
With phone, the only thing that I do know for sure is that if you start the stream in portrait mode, up and down, and then
vertically,
and you press live and you're going live, and then you turn it, it's not gonna change to landscape. You have to start in landscape for it to be landscape.
Gotcha.
That's the only trick that I've learned about that so far. I haven't experienced it. I don't know if he means it's switching back and forth during the live stream or but that's the one trick that I've found so far is that if you want it in landscape, you got to start in landscape. You got to go live in landscape and just keep it in landscape the whole time.
Cool. We got a question and guys, if I missed your questions in the past, can you please just copy and paste it to the most recent comment because I'm having a hard time keeping up. Kay Parnell says, I do landscape, but 3 weeks ago it made me rotate my phone. That's strange. Maybe that's an app issue. Did you hard reset it? That's the answer for a lot of things.
That's also true.
Reset it, start it over.
Turn it on, turn it
Even
off.
before the stream, we had to restart something.
Yep.
It just will happen. Portrait mode sucks. I agree. The world turned into portrait mode.
Yeah.
And people are used to seeing that. As a video professional, it grinds my gears, but I've learned to adapt to it now. It's not great. As you see, I have landscape all over this screen right now. Yeah. Okay, do that test and let me know. I'm curious. And you can always message us on the Facebook, on the YouTube. You can email us at info@gobridgeside.com. I'm a pretty open person. You can go to my Facebook and stalk me, Paul Liatsis. I don't care. Question from Susan Berlin. Ryan, that's your mama.
Oh, my mom.
Mama has a question.
Hey, Mom.
What's up, Aunt Sue? What's your advice on screen mirroring to a smart TV?
Oh.
Well, a lot of smart TVs nowadays just can sync right with the Bluetooth of your phone. So especially if you have a Samsung, you can go into your phone and it'll recognize it if you have the Bluetooth on.
Yes.
So it really depends on what your TV you have and what phone you're using.
Yes. So in my mom's case, I know that she's probably due for a new phone. So that could be if it's not working, that could be a big part of it. Time to get off of that iPhone 5 or whatever it is you have, Mom. So, but yeah, I mean, the screen sharing, it should be pretty straightforward, especially if you're going, obviously, iPhone to Apple TV, should be pretty easy. Should just pop up in your phone settings. Um,
Cool.
and
All right.
Yep.
Anything else on stream compression? Does anybody have questions about stream compression before we move on? Classroom? No? Nobody? Okay. All right, we're going to go to the next topic, which is interface issues, Ryan.
Oh yeah.
You know about this more than me. I know audio, but I'm really a video guy more than anything.
Yeah. Well,
Together
man,
we make one awesome tech
that's
person.
right. Yeah. So where do I begin with the interface stuff? Yeah. So if you start from the beginning, like I was saying, if you're going,
Begin with the issues, the common music stream issues.
yeah. So
What are people's problems with
how do
using
you,
interfaces?
yeah, how do you sound good? I mean, that's the big, that's the big one. You know, how do you get the microphones how do you get multiple microphones to stream onto Facebook? How do you do that using your phone? How do you do it? Do you have to use a computer? Do you have to use a laptop? Um, so these are the main starting points. And I would start off with the phone, because most people who are going live are using a phone to go live. They just go on their Facebook app, they open it up, they press go live, and they're live. So the easiest solution that I have found for getting a microphone, just a singular microphone, just to enhance your audio a little bit, is the iRig, which most people who own iOS devices are probably pretty familiar with it if they're into the audio techie kind of stuff. And there's a couple different types of iRigs that
Yeah,
exist.
there's a bunch of
out there.
variations, right?
So
Before we're actually going to show the iRigs pictures of which ones there are and the options that they have. But Ryan, what was that issue you had on your output of your interface?
Oh yes, so a big thing about what I found is, I'm going on Facebook, I'm going on Zoom, and you're going into your advanced audio settings, and you see your interface show up, right? You click it, and nothing's happening. You're not getting any sound. You don't know why. Nobody on the other end can hear you. Your microphone's plugged in, whatever. And the main thing is that these places like Facebook and Zoom, they haven't developed any way yet of getting of reading the full output of your interface. So basically, what I've learned is that all these softwares, Skype, Zoom, Facebook, YouTube, etc., they're just collecting the first two channels of any interface.
So it's just taking channels 1, channels 2, but not the master channels mix left and right. It's just so you can have a 16-channel board, and then it's not taking your master out, your left and right.
Yes, correct.
And this is Facebook, you're saying, or all of them?
This is, from what I've experienced, Facebook, Zoom, and Skype only take the first two channels of your audio.
So if you have something more than a basic iRig, like a mix, it's going to cause problems.
Yes, if you're using an interface of any sort, if you have a Focusrite or an Apollo or an Antelope,
and not going through OBS or an intermediary program.
Yes, if you're just trying to go straight from an interface into Facebook, you're playing a song, you're playing music, you got playback, you got tracks, whatever it is, you're not going to be hearing it. You're only getting what is plugged into channel 1 and 2.
That's
of that
so
interface.
ridiculous.
Yes,
But, the fact that exists takes quarantine to find out how crappy some features are.
And actually, there is a trick if you that I've seen a couple people do. I haven't done it yet because I'm submixing everything into channel 1 and 2, which is just basically the same difference. But if you have an interface that's, let's say it's 4 channels, and you have 4 outputs, and you have 4 outputs, you have 4 inputs, you can route internally in your computer everything to go out of, let's say, output 3, which would not be your main output. Your main output would be, let's say, channel 1 and output 1 and 2. You can come out of output 3 and loop it back into input 1. and then you have to route things inside your computer to go into that channel 1.
That's called the loop-de-loop.
That is the loop-de-loop. It's a little confusing with the software and the routing and stuff. So if you're not into that kind of level of audio routing, I would suggest to not do that. and we could talk about more about how I submix things
All right,
later.
cool. Ryan, so real quick, I just want to kind of recap real quick. If you're trying to keep things simple and just going the iRig route and just you on camera, one channel or two channels, you can use these iRigs.
Yeah.
If you want to have more control, you can use OBS or streaming software like
Correct.
Wirecast or vMix to get more professional and have more control and do more video and graphics. But if you want it simple, iRig seems to be the way to go, and there's variations. We're going to get into the iRig. Ryan, we have a question real quick.
Sure.
Does your studio solely rely on Cole Hollow Studios? Shout out to Cole Hollow Studios. Solely rely on Wi-Fi extender from the house? Do you have one you'd recommend?
Yeah. So, to be honest, I don't have one that I recommend. When we moved in here, I basically just spent a day on the phone with Verizon, making sure that we could get all the correct speed that we wanted to be able to, have all the fast upload speed and all that.
Yeah,
And,
so if you're using Verizon, they can put extenders into the box, the TV boxes.
yes.
So that's how Verizon does it.
Yeah. So I don't know the
I can't
particular.
speak for others.
Yes, I don't know the particular brand. I can try to look at it real quick.
If you have Verizon, you can get extenders right into your TV box, whatever room you have a TV box in.
Yes, exactly. And
So-
and there we lucked out in the place that we moved into. There was already the studio was already wired for cable out here. So the tech, when he came out, it was real simple for him. He just tapped into the lines that were already ran to this building. He didn't have to run something from our house all the way out here. So it really kind of depends on your situation, how easy or difficult it's going to be. The more simple solution would be, if you're in two different locations like we are, would just be to set up a separate network entirely.
Yeah.
And just get a separate router.
Yep. So we're going back and forth between different questions, which who cares about the topics right now? We want to help you guys. So Kay Parnell asks another question. And this is the $1 million question. Okay. How do you solve latency issues with two or more people performing on Zoom?
Oh.
I'm going to make a video just about this, and it's going to be really short because I just want to help people rather than you go through the rabbit hole of searching for this on YouTube, which I've already done and tested stuff. The short answer is to the question, can you or can't you? Yes, but you can do it, but it's going to involve a band full of people that are really passionate about making it happen, which a lot of times isn't the case with, all band members don't have the same tech. You're going to all pretty much have to kind of emulate the same setup. Kevin Lacey with the comment. Kevin Lacey. Kevin Lacey's audio engineer, right?
Hey, he is.
So he said Skype for settings, audio and video, microphone drop down. All right, guys. All right, sorry, Kay. So you can, but you need to solve that latency issue. That's the issue, latency, right? So there's platforms online that you can join a private server with your bandmates or with people, and it handles the latency, and you guys get a feedback that's pretty in sync. So, but you need to go through a separate application, a separate service to do that. Get the audio out of that. If you want to stream video into Zoom, then you got to push that into Zoom, maybe on a separate computer if your computer can't handle, probably a separate computer. So you probably need two computers. You're going to need a service that lets you have a private server and does these, like, there's a few services. Let me pull them up. I have the names of them. You can look into it. Jam Kazam is a service that does this, has private server rooms that handles latency issues. But it's audio. They're all generally audio-based. Some have video components, but it's not going to be video right into Zoom. You're going to have to do other things to capture this video. So you're going to have to do several steps to make this work. And for some, it's going to be over a lot of people's heads as far as not wanting to do it. So Alejandro Wong, that's the same kind of question. What is your recommendation for app program where you can jam online with others? So I found 3. Jamkazam, which apparently is outdated, but they're working on an update. That's what I found out today.
Okay.
Jamulus, which people are using currently, and it works. And Soundjack, which there's a gentleman on YouTube that made an example of them playing the flute and what was the other instrument? I don't know, accordion. It was two instrumentalists playing. It makes it harder to stream. Now you could do this at any point and record and rehearse, but to stream it, you probably need a separate computer to do the streaming. So again, Jamkazam, Jamulus, Soundjack, and after this video, I'll add these to the description. So look back for that later tonight. I'll put all these links, and there's also other softwares that kind of do this as well, that are more paid for softwares, not web browser platforms. SessionWire, and I can't speak that I've tried all these. Thanks, Kevin Danger. SessionWire Studio. These are all programs that bring people in. I don't know if it's specifically for live collaboration, but for recording collaboration and
Sure. Yep.
So these, but you could potentially rig things to make it work, which it's going to take some tinkering. And I would say that everybody in your band needs to have an audio interface. And I would like to say the same audio interface, because you're going to run into so many different issues with trying to figure it out between multiple people. So it's easier to replicate the problems you're having if you all have the same stuff. Obviously, it's not fully realistic for everyone to have the same computer, but at least maybe the same audio interface to help.
That's more realistic.
Right? So SessionWire Studio is one of those collaborative softwares for recording and dealing with latency. SoundWhale, Audio Movers Listen To. Audio Movers creates Listen To, which is a plugin for your DAWs softwares that it definitely doesn't work with the live component exactly, but you might be able to trick these things into working. You just need something to deal with the latency, get the output of that into your separate computer, into like a computer doing OBS, then record Zoom from a separate camera into OBS, or I'm sorry, you have to screen capture your Zoom call into OBS.
Yep.
So you have your Zoom call, you screen capture it, put that as your video source, mute the audio on the Zoom screen capture, just use the audio coming from whatever latency audio solving issue you figured out, program you figured out that works for you, and then you have to delay the video. Potentially, either delay the audio or the video. My brain cannot think of that on the moment. It really depends on what your setup is. You'll either have to delay the video or audio within OBS to sync it up. So all this being said, the answer is yes, you can, but it might take you probably weeks of testing with your band.
Oh, yeah.
And so if you're passionate about it, which this is stuff I love, but I don't have a band right now. Ryan quit our family band. No, he didn't quit. We just don't play anymore.
Yeah, we broke up.
We broke up without breaking up. But yeah, so if you guys figure out a combination of all this stuff that works for you, I'd love to hear it.
Yeah.
I'd love to do a video on it. I'm probably going to do a video anyway on it, but yeah, it's a lot of work. So is it worth it? Is it worth, because you can do that. You can do the latency programs, like I said, Soundjack, Jamulus, Jamkazam, where you can all get into a session together, deal with that latency in that session, and record it, and then just post it as if it was live.
Yeah.
And but if you want that live engagement, it's going to be a lot more work and a lot more chance it won't work because there's a lot of moving parts. All right, guys, I'm talking a lot, Ryan.
Yeah, that's all right. It's your show.
Using the same audio IFC is a good recommendation, but may be hard to implement for sure. Okay, Alejandro Wong, someone who's tried Jamkazam. If you could provide those links to the other apps programs, that would be great. Jamulus, I'll put this in the comments right now, guys. Hey, Ryan, I'm going to ask you a question so you can go for it.
Sure. I'm ready.
Anything you have to say about streaming live with your band?
So I am, over here, we're very fortunate that I live in a house full of musicians, so I'm not particularly in a position where I'm streaming with another musician in a remote location. So I haven't tried any of those apps myself either. But I do want to kind of investigate them because that is pretty interesting stuff. However, on the other hand, as you mentioned, Paul, is it worth it? I don't know. For me, I'm more of a studio guy. So for me, my collaborations, I'd like to do, I like to just record music, send it to someone, have them record, make a video, send it back to me, and then edit it together and make a music video that way, the old fashioned way. Um, so, like you said, Paul, I think you put it best. Like, is it worth the weeks and weeks and the money and the time and the troubleshooting to be able to play live with with four other musicians
It
in
might
four
be
other
though. It might be
locations.
worth it for a lot of
Yeah.
people.
Yes.
If I was in a band with my whole setup here, yes, it would be worth it
Sure.
for me because
Well,
part of
yeah,
my
exactly.
love is figuring out and tinkering.
Yep. And that's that. Like I said, I think that's the best question of all, right there.
Because
Is
no one people think the answer is straight up no.
yeah, exactly.
The answer isn't straight up no. It's yes, but.
Yeah, and we have more time than ever now, and and people should explore this as an option because it could be the future of at least for musicians. We're going to be part of the last wave of people that are going back to work.
I tell you what, if I was ready to invest in something, it would be a software. If anybody who have money that want to go invest in making an app,
Yeah,
that's
there you go.
it.
There you
That's
go.
the $1 million app right now. I'm sure it's being made as we speak.
Oh yeah.
Okay, Ryan. So, and guys, I hope we answered this as best we can. A lot of answers aren't just cut and dry, yes or no.
Yeah.
Go buy this, go buy that. Everyone's setup is different. Everybody has different needs for different shows, for different desires, yada, yada. You got it, Alejandro. Thank you for bringing that up. Yeah, Kay and Alejandro, I really appreciate the comments. Yes, but that's a story of my life right there. Yeah, thank you, Natasha. That's my answer for everything.
Yep.
New show on Bridgeside. Yes, but.
Yes, but.
All right, Ryan, we're going to get into some a little more interactive. All you people out there that like picture books, you'll like this section because we're going to just show a couple pictures. Yes, but is my life right now, Dan Rappaport. Yes. All right, Ryan, we're just going to go through interfaces in general. I'm going to take off the interface issues and just go back to the boom. Oh, no, we'll start from the beginning.
Cool.
All right. What do we got here, Ryan?
So we're starting with the iRig, right? The iRig Pre. Let me take a look at my screen. Yes, the iRig Pre.
iRig Pre. I'll tell you what's up. This is the iRig Pre.
All right, the iRig Pre. So the iRig Pre is the most simple one. The iRig Pre, and there's now the iRig HD2. It's called. So the difference is the iRig Pre is an XLR input, and the iRig HD2 is a 1/4 inch input. So your XLR input is going to be a microphone. It's going to be a feed from a mixer, etc. The 1/4 inch is going to be a guitar, a bass, an acoustic guitar. Anything that plugs in with a pickup can be used in that one. And they both essentially, if you think about it, it's an XLR that just has a little box that converts the sound into a lightning cable, so you can plug it directly into your iPhone.
Yes, there is a cable at the end of that picture.
It's true. And I'm just going to grab mine. So
you have it?
I have it with me here. This is
This
is the iRig Pre, and I have a prehistoric iRig Pre, which still has an 1/8 inch adapter on it. But you can use your dongle, your iPhone dongle, to adapt the 1/8 inch to your lightning cable. And it's a really simple, easy thing to use. And it's got one button that goes in two places. You've got on, it turns on, and you've got phantom power if you're using a mic that needs phantom power. So it's really simple to use. You got a volume knob right here. Obviously, different mics, different signals are going to be different levels, and you adjust the volume accordingly. So that iRig is the simplest and easiest way to, if you have an iPhone or an iOS device, simplest, easiest way to get sound.
Cool. So we're going to plow through these right now because we got a few.
Great. So moving on.
Upgrading.
We're going on to the next level, which is the iRig Stream. So this is more designed for podcasts or, anything that's kind of submixed into a mixer or, it's basically you can now stream in stereo. The iRig Pre and the iRig HD2 are mono, so there's only one.
But this is just 1/4 inch, though.
The iRig Stream is RCA, actually.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm on the iRig 2 right now.
Oh, gotcha. Yes, the iRig 2, I kind of group that in the same category as the iRig
Okay.
3 because they're both just one channel, really easy. Again, with
So
there's one
iRig.
that's one that's
I'm
an
sorry. Go
XLR
ahead.
and there's one that's a quarter inch. So
So
whatever
we're on
you're.
the iRig 2 because you're not seeing the feed. I'm showing the iRig 2 right now. This is the quarter-inch one.
Yeah, so that's the quarter inch version where you can just plug a guitar directly in. So let's say you just want to go live and you just want to play guitar. You don't want to say anything. Then you simply plug your guitar into your iRig into your phone, and that's it. You're good.
There you
You're
go.
going.
Now
And
I have the stream up. Now this is RCA, like you said. There you go.
yes, so that's RCA. So again, there's a lot of podcast mixers that are made specifically for this, and a lot of those podcast mixers have an RCA output. So if you've got your little podcast mixer, let's say you bought a podcast setup, a lot of those packages where it comes with 2 mics or 1 mic and a little mixer, and you got to figure out how you get that mixer to your phone or to your computer.
Yeah.
So using the iRig Stream is the easiest way. You just take an RCA cable out of your mixer, plug it into your iRig Stream. It's got one big knob. It's very simple, straightforward, cut and dry.
What are the price points for the pre, the 2,
so
and the stream?
The pre and the 2 are the kind of intro level, $40, I believe they go for.
So you get the pre, there you go, 40. The 2, 40.
The stream, which again, the main difference is that you're now streaming in stereo, not in mono. The iRig Stream, I think, is $100. Okay. And then they have one level above that if you're ready to venture on.
And ready.
Which is the iRig Duo, I believe they call it. Which is now
iRig Pro Duo, I think.
iRig Pro Duo, which is
Duo Pro.
Now you've got 2 XLR inputs, and actually those are the hybrid XLR quarter-inch inputs, so you can plug an XLR cable and a quarter-inch cable simultaneously. So let's say you had an electric guitar and a vocal mic. You can plug each of them in. It's got 2 volume knobs, and again, that just breaks out to a lightning cable. And I believe that one might even have adapters. Like, I can actually show you on this. On this iRig HD2, it has a cable that comes out, so it probably breaks out to different,
it has a potential breakout cable.
Yeah, to an Android or to a different device other than iPhone, iOS device.
So how much is the Duo?
Duo is $200.
So for more people trying to up their game a little?
Yeah, so that's more of what I guess you'd call a prosumer level device right there.
All right, so we're going to move up a level here if we're out of your price point.
Yes.
This is something to look forward to save up a few shekels for.
Oh, yes, and that's the iConnect.
Boom.
iConnectivity, iConnect Audio 2 Plus. And there's a couple different models. There's ones that have 4 channels. I think there's one that might even have 6 channels. But this one is really cool, and it's an iOS and iPad specific interface, which I actually was using to perform live, not to do anything with live streaming.
So this has nothing to do with streaming. This is just to actually get your stuff.
No, it does have a lot to do with streaming. It turns out, which I discovered recently. But originally it has many functions. Is basically the gist of it. So I was originally using it to play music from an iPad. And get those backing tracks into a DI box to send to the front of house at the club, right? So when we're playing live, I'm playing music from an iPad. It's going into this interface, and then it's breaking out into separate tracks. So I can have my bass track on one track. I could have my backing guitars on one track. I could have my keyboards on one track. I could have my percussion on a separate track.
Oh, that's awesome.
So that was the use that I was using it for. And then I discovered that, lo and behold, you can actually use it for the opposite. You can use it to put audio out into an iPhone to stream, not just taking audio from your iPad. And that's why this one is a little more advanced, I would say, because it's got a lot of internal routing that you can do with the software that comes with it. You can use it as just a regular interface for audio recording. You can just use it for your studio setup, but it's got this really cool, iOS specific kind of thing going on where
So is that the same issue with the output that Facebook will only see the first channel,
That
first two
still
channels?
is, yes, still is the same thing because Facebook will still only see the same two, but it will stream in stereo. You can submix into it. Um, but really, this one in particular only has two inputs, so you don't really have much to worry about anyway because
Gotcha.
you only got two ins. But it has a number of outputs, meaning that you can send it to other places besides streaming. So I could be streaming it to Facebook on my phone, and then I could also be coming out of it with a 1/4-inch cable into another computer to record it, let's say, or something like that, to just record the audio. So that one has a number of different outputs.
So it can do a few things
options.
at once.
Yeah, so that's kind of like the next level
what's
above the iRig.
What's the price point for this?
That one is anywhere from $250, I think, is the 2-channel. The 4-channel is, I think, $350. So somewhere in that range, you're looking at $250 to $350, $400-ish.
All right, guys, let us know if you have more questions. We're going to show a couple more things and wrap this stream up. But before we wrap it up, Ryan's just going to give us a quick tour of his studio, which is very cool.
Yeah.
I gave a tour of my studio last week, so you can check that out on YouTube on this very page. Ryan, we got 2 more things now. This is getting professional. Just want to get through these kind of quick.
Yep.
And guys, send us your questions. We'll still get to them. All right, which is the one you have here? Focusrite.
Yes, so the Focusrite is the one that you see here in the studio. If you want, I can zoom in for you.
Well, I'm showing the picture of it right now.
Oh, you got the picture. Great. So so that's the Claret 8 Pre, which is an 8-channel interface, which is a great piece of gear. And that's for more professional level recording. It's not particularly, I use it for streaming because it's hooked up to our Mac Mini that's in the studio. And again, it's only taking channel 1 and 2 out of that interface. Even though it's an 8-channel interface, you're only getting whatever's going into channel 1 and 2. But this particular one is it's a really great interface, and it's awesome for studio recording. And that's if you're looking to up your setup to the next level. You want multiple channels. You need to record a drum set. You need to record 3 people playing at once, etc. This is the kind of interface that you would get to do something like that.
So that's like when you're trying to be a serious band, you get that.
Yes, exactly.
Like this is, unless you're just rich and you can just throw pennies away, like you can get whatever toy you want. But if you're trying to be a serious band, this is something worth investing in. How much is it?
That's in the $1,000 range. This one was $1,100. There's other brands, other Focusrite even models that are in that price range, but you're looking at about $1,000.
What brand makes the Scarlett? Is that Focusrite?
Scarlett is also Focusrite, yeah.
Okay, because the Scarlett's a big one that people have gotten.
Yep.
And so we've been saying all these things and recommending all these iRigs, but the truth is they're all sold out.
That's also true.
Well, eBay,
right?
I mean, you can go spend more money right now to get it, but at some point I think they'll get there.
Hopefully.
So Alejandro Wong, again, thank you for the comment. He asked if it was USB.
Which we're talking about?
Your Focusrite.
The Focusrite is Thunderbolt, actually, and this is the latest.
Okay.
There might be a model from maybe a couple of years ago, although I think the Claret is only a recent thing, which is Thunderbolt. And I actually got a newer Mac Mini, so I had to get even a newer Thunderbolt 2.0 adapter because this was Thunderbolt, the original Thunderbolt. So yeah, right. It's a Thunderbolt interface. There are many good USB interfaces still out there, but you'd have to check on the other Focusrite ones. They might make a USB one currently.
Okay.
I'm sure they
Thunderbolt for this one. Cool. Yep. Thanks for the comment, Alejandro. Let's move on to, this is the last one we're going to show.
All right.
There it is.
What have we got? Oh.
This is now even more advanced, right?
Oh, yes. So now we're talking mixing numerous channels, doing a submix. And if you want, I can...
This is the Behringer X Air.
The Behringer X Air. So
this is pretty much your soundboard. You can get USB out or information out.
Exactly. And this one in particular, so I have not been using this as the interface. So it does work as an interface, but I'm assuming, once again, if you're streaming to Facebook, if you're streaming to Zoom, etc., it's probably just going to pick up channel 1 and 2. So you probably
this
don't
might
want
be
to
overkill unless you live with your band like you do.
Yes, exactly. So essentially, you don't want in this scenario, you wouldn't necessarily want to use that mixer as your interface. But what we're doing is we're submixing. That's our submixer. Everything's going into that. Everything's in the live room. We're all plugged into the Behringer. We can all have separate headphone mixes. We can control it from our phones, from our iPads, our tablets, whatever. And then that is being a stereo mix of that is being sent into our interface that's hooked up to the computer, so that that stereo feed is now being sent to Facebook, and you're getting that high quality mix
So
right
you
to
guys,
Facebook.
you guys are way beyond just going to the iPhone. You have sub mixes and sub mixes and ultra sub mixes. All
Yes.
right. So before we start wrapping this up, I want to get a quick tour of the studio, and I want you to jam for 30 seconds if possible.
Sure.
I need to see a guitar. But real quick, this is the mic Ryan's using right here. Ryan, quick thing about the mic.
Yeah, so that's a new mic I just bought, which is the Warm Audio W47 Junior, I believe.
And
And
you're liking it?
oh yeah, it's great. It's a U47 clone, which is a Neumann U47, which is a very
Neumann's like the big name in mics.
yes, which is a famous mic, developed in whenever it was, the 60s or whatever. And, the real Neumanns obviously go for a good chunk of change. So these are just
Thousands.
kind of, yes, so these are just kind of clones
How
by
much?
other brands. So this one was kind of cheap. This one was, I think, 3 or 400. And you can get a nice, it's a great sounding mic. We tested it out with my buddy Dan singing some vocals into it, and
Cool.
it just sounds amazing. It's worth, you can I think these days you can make any mic work
Yeah. So do you
to
know
sound good,
a really quick for the people that don't have that kind of budget? Do you know a quick cheap mic that's just better than using your iPhone or your computer?
Sure. I mean, just using a good old fashioned SM58, a Shure SM58. This mic that I'm talking into, I bought this thing for $50. It's a Lewitt, Lewitt, which is an Austrian brand, I think. And I
Do you
got turned
know?
on.
Sorry.
Sorry, I was gonna say I got turned on to them by an engineer who came through the Brooklyn Bowl, who carried a couple of Lewitt vocal mics, and I thought they sounded amazing, so I decided to research them. And my whole drum kit is mic'd up with all Lewitt mics right now, and this one was $50. This is the Lewitt MCT 250,
Well,
I
you'll need
think,
XLR for that. So,
and you'll need an
do you know
XLR.
anything USB that people can just get going?
So I
Rode
have
makes decent stuff, right?
yes, Rode makes some good stuff. There are ones that actually are just a mic, a stereo pair mic that is just a lightning adapter. So if you have an iOS device, you just plug it right into your phone. There's no cables, no nothing. It's just a little mic
There you go.
attached to a lightning connector. So I would research some of those. I think Rode might make one.
Rode
And
makes stuff like that, and Blue has been making USB mics. I
yeah,
know Blue
yes,
brand. Really
yep,
quick, I have the classic SM7B. Ryan,
yep.
anything to say about this mic?
You said it. It's classic. You see it
You see it in
everywhere.
a lot of shows.
Podcasters shows. It's great for vocals.
It was bestowed upon me many years ago.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, if you're looking for something more high end like that, you've got the Electro Voice RE20 is another classic mic for radio and voice. And like you said, the SM7B is another. Those are the two big ones.
All right, guys, we're gonna wrap this up. But before Ryan goes, he's gonna give us a quick tour of his studio.
Yeah, let's go check it out.
All right. And thank you guys for joining the stream. He's going to take a walk. He's going to take his iPhone. I'm going to announce it here. We thought we didn't want to have stoppage in the stream, but here he goes. He's walking to the other room where a mic is waiting by. This is in upstate New York. They are a band of musicians that magically found this house that they rent out that has a built-in studio in the back. I had to build my studio out of my old garage. They just walked into a completely set up construction.
Yeah, lucky us.
And it's fantastic. Now you're at a completely different setting. I feel
Yeah,
like
so
we're back in the 70s right now.
yes, exactly. So this is our setup that we have again.
Back in the 70s, like I was alive in the 70s.
Yeah, right. So again, and I'm gonna do a quick move on the camera here so everyone can see. So all our mics are hooked up, right? We've got a couple of vocal mics, guitar mics, a kick drum mic, and then we've got our Behringer over here. Everything is running into that. We've got a couple.
That's the iMix?
That is the mix. That is the submix. That's the Behringer X Air right there.
Do you have a mic that you can hold?
Sorry, I'll come back. Sorry. Guess
No,
you
you're
couldn't
good.
hear me. I was trying to yell.
I heard you a little bit. I don't know if the stream can hear you.
So anyway, what I was zooming in on, that was the Behringer X Air, which again, all of our mics here, this mic, this vocal mic, that guitar mic back here, kick drum mic, other vocal mic. We got a ton of DIs. We got our buddy Joe back here. He's got a million guitar pedals. We got a MIDI synth guitar pedal he's using. We've got his acoustic amp. Everything's plugged into that Behringer X Air 18, which is, again, we're using all 16 channels. We're plugging in a lot of stuff. We've got the bass going DI just right into that. And it's a great little mixer, and it can all be controlled with, you guessed it, just in a simple tablet, just like this. So we can adjust our volume as we're hearing it while we play. We've all got our separate mixes for all four of us. And yeah, so, if you want, I'll just play a little something and you'll hear what I'm talking about.
So the idea for Ryan and people in more professional setups is to have full control. It's not people are just trying to get on their phones. You guys are using your phones to control other devices. Oh, there he goes. He can't hear me.
Can't hear you.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's in tune, but
It's close enough. All right, Ryan. I think that's about it, right? Do you have anything else you want to show us? Thank you for coming on the stream. And guys, thank you for being an awesome stream. A lot of great questions. I hope we could help you guys. If you have any more questions or comments, I do streams on Monday. Let me know what you want me to talk about on Mondays. We do streams at 7 o'clock, tech and creative live streams here to help you guys. And thanks, Kay. Ryan, do you anything else from you?
Yeah, I think the only thing I could say is, the main point I think we're trying to say is you can get good sound on Facebook. You don't have to just settle for your iPhone. And I recommend, we listed a couple options for whatever budget you have. And if you're trying to be a professional level band, you might have to spend a little more money. But if you're just looking for something simple, you can only spend $40-$50 and get a lot better, higher quality audio sound onto your streams, if that's what you're doing. So
absolutely. Hey, Ryan, can you play a little musical interlude out and then hit one strum, and that's when I'll go to the Go Bridgeside?
I'll try.
I'm going to do my outro now, all right? Let's see if we can time this. Latency is not a problem. I'm not playing drums with you.
All right, great.
All right, guys. This has been another Mr. Bridgeside vlog. 7 p.m. Mondays. We're here to help you with tech and creative information. We're all about community here at Bridgeside. Our motto is support creators, build community, and help you with production so you can start rolling. That's my cousin, Ryan Liatsis, a.k.a. Schwiz, pro audio engineer, pro musician, fantastic all-around human. Thank you for coming on the stream. Thank you for all the great questions. And we'll see you next week, guys. See you on the Bridgeside. Go Bridgeside.